Orange. Which is the camera?
Is that orange?
Yeah,
Yeah.
orange.
Oh, hello.
I know. Oh, is this being recorded already?
Yeah.
Shit.
No, it's not recording yet. It's still loading.
Recording advanced lieutenant.
Oh.
Recording 13
Oh, it's
minutes.
already.
Where's the chat section? I need to see the charts. Oh,
Here.
come on in, come on in.
Hello.
Oh, who are you? Come on in.
You guys doing all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're starting in a bit. We're waiting for now.
Good. I see.
Yeah. Did you participate in the what you call it? In the hackathon?
With the which one? The
Capture the flag, yeah.
no, I don't think so.
You should have. You probably have won.
Man, been busy.
Yeah, I get that. And it's mostly for students though, so probably not gonna be like best suited for you.
Hey, what are you calling me?
You're not a student.
I'm kind of a mix.
I just sent a link in chat. You can check it out, though.
Where's the glasses?
Where is it called? No glasses.
Orange. I mean orange.
It's crazy. It's impressive.
Yeah, I know. We have the best devs in the country in here. The best devs in all of Europe.
He's the backend developer.
I know.
He did the front end, and
I wrote out the back end.
I just exist. You should do the challenges.
The challenges.
Tell me
I'm having a look at it right now.
Yeah. Tell me
Impressive
how
work
it
with it.
is, because I came up with all that.
Impressive design on the website. Also looks quite
I know,
good.
right?
Yeah, it's quite cool. I like the fact that instead of it connects directly to the LinkedIn page.
I know, right?
It's on the bottom. It's perfect. It's great. Yeah, it's quite cool. Jigsaw. How much does it cost to fund a CTF?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We
Oh wow.
use free stuff online.
Oh wow. This is actually very creative. I'm gonna lie. I think we gotta do this at my university. This is impressive.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, this looks quite interesting. All right.
What's this? MB. Oh, millennium. I'm telling you, there's kind of surprise I'm going to be a second. Okay, that's not. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. What's the What's the CTF? What's the CTF? What's it based on?
Main. So we teach Python in a society, and we also like you do the IBM Z Explore. So it just relates.
Oh, so you mix both into it. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the first one, system boot sequence. And I'm just running the Python code on my laptop. See what it does.
Yeah, it's easy. The first one is easy. You just run the code and get the secret.
Yeah, I think it's. Why can't I not run this? Where's my computer? Oh, access full ID. Cool. Impressive. I mean.
Let's start.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm alright. How are you?
Mukesh, go up. Yeah, you can still go up.
Yeah, it's not quiet.
Yeah, that's on the ground.
Who's Jigsaw?
Jigsaw is there.
Steve? You use it first.
Yeah, that's right. I was waiting for that last and final time.
I'd like to say join first, please. Second.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have one last spring, where.
Yeah.
I know the first round. That's not like a talk.
Okay.
And everybody can show it, something they need to.
And I only have 30 minutes now to talk.
No, no, it's gonna be up to you.
40?
You can talk with.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's because 30, you said.
Oh.
30.
What's your,
Okay, no, that's fine. I try to make the slides fit 30, but obviously if it goes over, then yeah. No, that's fine. We'll work it out.
Yeah, I think she did give you 40 minutes, even on the website.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay.
By the way, Rajiv did the website. Cool stuff.
Yeah, it's good, mate. It's all really it's very professional, very slick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's a nice touch as well. I didn't even notice that until now. You can't click on challenges if you're not logged in. Did you see it?
No, you can, but then it takes you to login.
Oh, on the home page, it didn't work. See. Oh yeah, that's how it should be, anyways. But it wasn't working when I clicked the first time. That's how I was like, wow.
No, I didn't set up that.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
You can rub it there.
Well, you're not move forward. You're not move forward. We're not back from stuff like that. You don't want to hear. Yeah, it's basically, yeah, it's so, it's basically. You have to move forward as well. So I can't shout, what do you want? No, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I need to see.
That's why, what's your-
They got me up on the list. It should have been like.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 6 months, sounds bad, but that's actually quite good considering some places and some treats.
Yeah.
It's impossible a week before the event, the conference.
Yeah.
They, sometimes I saw said that he would write letters to expedite it because you don't go into A&E for no reason and you don't get discharged with more for no reasons.
No.
So I'm waiting to hear back from
You're
them
not
now.
going to change.
Stingy. Very stingy.
Whether it's,
We'll be saying a lot from there.
I say, if you got a class and you got an because you can probably just watch them up.
Even better if you're in the Jordan Wallace.
Let's just go for it.
So from the corners, you guys.
So is that those uni girls?
Yeah, that's the George Wallace, that's the arts and creativity building. Because somebody doing an arts degree, creative writing or something. Get they wouldn't go get explore.
I would if I gave a shit last thoughts. Talking to someone the other day, saying they're going to France, Rainbow Six, but everything depends on the continue what thoughts to do that. There's no excuse.
So, and you can get back some,
Not to stop.
get some stuff up.
He said not to release the last to Ben, so only season.
Oh,
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the two three actually. If you don't drink alcohol or smoke, there's not that much that you can get alcohol.
It's generally on illicit stuff.
Now, we'll start in 3 minutes. You guys can.
Okay, yeah, I'll wrap it. Oh, yeah.
But am I presenting it 3 minutes?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But now, so,
Yeah.
Okay.
So just, we have 3 minutes, so we start at around time. And you have 20 minutes to go.
yeah, I can do that.
My jacket. This is the joint tied transformation with the other guys.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who's Arab Cooper, is it?
Wait, it's one minute. Nobody else are, yeah. Competition. Oh yeah, we can have any tea there. Now this is getting hot. Like,
No, don't worry. I had one, and I think I gave it to Zaid or someone from Wolverhampton last year, and then they gave it back to me. So
I think they and the others, and one of them are going to.
Zaid and Nishka said they'll come out after work, so I think they're coming around 6 o'clock.
I wouldn't be answering this.
Well, they said if you guys want to, if you're planning on going out for dinner or anything, they'd like to come, but they said obviously it depends. I said I'd probably get the train home because if I miss one train, I've got to wait another hour to the next one, so can't really afford to miss that. But do you want to make a start now if everyone's ready? And then, I mean, the earlier I finish, the earlier you can win this competition, right?
There's a competitor.
Well, 50-50 then. The earlier one of you can win it. Okay, let's not be unrealistic. Okay, right. So this session is mainframe security for the non-security professional, or cover your back and implement that security. Or it's actually meant to be called cover your ass, but someone thought that was a bit too vulgar for the students from University of Wolverhampton, who clearly are, and they're very dainty and they don't want to hear words like that. So in this session, we're just going to cover a few topics. So we'll give a quick overview of security. Obviously, I'm not going to insult your intelligence too much. Passwords and passphrases, because they are slightly different. Enhanced authentication or authentication. What the hell was that? Daz giving me a voice call.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Dad. Ingress limiting, least privilege, and role-based access control, which we all sort of talk about in one, and prevention and detection, which again we'll just merge them into one, just in the interest of time. So I guess first of all, what is security all about? So effectively, on the systems that I work on, which are mainframe systems, they're used by retailers, insurance, aviation industry. They're basically massive kind of computers and data centers. And so we're just trying to mitigate risk and patch vulnerabilities. That's the sort of quick summary. But some of the threats are that we're up against are insider threats, code-based vulnerabilities, so like day one exploits, human error, so just simple mistakes that someone can make, which could obviously leave sort of the door wide open, or cause security issues, intentional hackers or non-intentional, so you might get people who are coerced into hacking, and then ransomware, so like malware, software, etc. So those are the sorts of security things that we're going to look at. So I guess the question that I want to ask you guys is security really that much of a concern, right? So obviously you hear about it on the news, you hear about all these companies getting hacked and losing all their data, and is it really that much of a concern? I'd like to ask you guys, so obviously we've not got that many people in the room, but you know, do you guys think it is or it isn't a big concern? Yeah, few nods.
It's not a concern because every piece of technology is vulnerable.
Of course it is. And that's the thing that's really important to remember is there's no piece of technology that's just like flawless, right? We can't just turn around and be like, this is impenetrable. Like everything's got weaknesses. Everything's got, you know, these kind of vulnerabilities that can be exploited. And as the world gets more interconnected, obviously those the kind of vulnerabilities actually get exacerbated. So, you know, the privacies that we might have previously had are being exploited in exchange for what I call frictionless convenience. Things like if you've got a phone and you use your card on your phone, if I lose my wallet, I still have my phone. If I lose my phone, I still have my wallet. But if you only have the two things entwined, if you lose your phone, that's your digital identity, that's your wallet, that's your phone, that's everything about you. And I now potentially have access to that. So that one idea of convenience, I now have one item rather than three in my you know, pocket. Actually, that makes you more vulnerable. And it is being compromised. Companies are constantly talking about, oh, you know, we're going to do better. We're going to secure your data. We're going to make sure we look after all your information. Do they fuck, right? Let's be honest. They don't. And they don't really care because unless they get sued, and even then, they'll do some private settlement, you know, a sort of a data loss that's worth, you know, millions in valuation, they'll pay hundreds of thousands. So they'll always cost less to them than it should. But that, I mean, this idea of interconnected stuff is really important. There's been hacks for things like, you know, these leapfrog baby monitors. Right, you've got stuff like pacemakers that are now kind of in the Internet of Things. These are things that you don't want people to hack, right? You don't want to have your heartbeat literally being hacked into. But we are kind of getting in that direction. You've got smart fridges, smart washing machines. I mean, you're probably going to end up with smart toilets, smart toothbrushes. I mean, it's all bullshit, right? It's just, it's dangerous, right? So when we say, is it that much of a concern? Just as a show of hands, is there anyone here who thinks that it is? You know, this is a concern, right? Yeah. So Rajiv doesn't clearly, but he's always on his phone. But yeah, okay. So there's a 2019 survey that showed 24. So there's respondents from 24 countries, and 78% of them agreed that it was a concern. Setting that aside, this is basically how it looks. They said, "Are you concerned? Very concerned. Somewhat concerned. You know, basically, or not. You know, not at all." And 78%, which is all of this here, were concerned, whether that's somewhat or very. And 2/5 of those were very concerned. And then another statistic is that 25% of respondents basically said they, quote, do not trust the internet, which I think is actually quite a healthy perspective to have. I was literally just reading a report about there's a journalist who submitted some pieces to a publication, literally on the train. I was reading about this. She submitted a load of articles, and then the guy thought, this is really weird. Like, I've never heard of these sources before. And he looked into it. He actually reached out to the universities, the professors. Well, they all said, we've never heard of this person. We've never had an interview. So she'd fabricated entire stories and fabricated the evidence for those stories. And people on the internet nowadays, you know, especially boomers, they just believe anything. They see some AI video and go, oh my God, look at that cat dancing. Isn't that amazing? Like, obviously it's not Ethel, you fucking idiot. Like, it's just not true. That's why 25% don't, and why that number is going to get bigger and bigger. The issue we've got is that actually, this is from a 2019 article from the Hindustan Times, but actually what it says is quite interesting. And that obviously throughout this, if a quick summary, is actually in many countries, conviction rates are falling. So although they're actually finding cyber criminals, they're not necessarily convicting them. There's maybe too many people to convict, or they just literally don't have the manpower, the resources, or the care. So that's a real concern. Cybercrime is increasing at a drastic rate. The worldwide cost is now 11 times what it was in 2017, right? Massive, massive cost. Detection rates from some law enforcement are falling. So even though some of the countries, they're actually finding it, they're not necessarily convicting it, but in other countries, they might not even find it at all. And because laws may hold back the police from intervening, we have to be more self-sufficient. We cannot rely on like the police to do our dirty work, basically. And obviously, because of the issues in certain police forces, like the Met Office, you wouldn't want to trust them anyway. That's my bit of politics. I'm going to inject that into this presentation. So what are we actually protecting? What do we have to lose, basically? Assets is the real thing, and that could be anything. So if I'm in this building here, these bits of hardware are assets. This building, the land, that's an asset. The students, the staff, those are assets. The software, the intellectual property, everything like that. All of this, goodwill is actually an asset. If Idris owes me something and you can exploit that, technically you've exploited an asset that's actually through someone else. And actually, as I say, people are assets. But the main one we're going to look at is data, which we now kind of refer to as the universal currency. And there's actually saying that data is the new oil, like it's worth so much money. It's all about untapped potential. So in an age where the global economy revolves around digital technology, data is the single most valuable commodity on the market. I don't think there's anyone here who would or could or should disagree with that. Anyways, I'm going to keep blasting through this because we've only got half an hour. So security must be built into every layer of the stack. So if we're looking at a Z16 mainframe, which is technically 1 generation old now, you have to have security at every stack. So I won't go too much into this. You've got the actual hardware, so the actual, the chips and the actual infrastructure built in. You've got the operating systems, so ZOS, VC, TPF, etc. You've got security software, all different sorts of different types. We're going to briefly cover a few bits of software, and then the services, and then partner consulting. That's my job. I'm a security consultant. So even though I don't work for IBM, I'm a partner from a partner consultancy group. So that's what I do, which leads me into what I'm going to talk about today, which is a few methods you can use to increase your security on a IBM Z system. So this is obviously how it would look on that infrastructure, on that system, rather than a x86 server or Windows or a Mac or anything. Right, so the first one, let's say we've got Afrin and we've got Rajiv, and these are two people who work for similar organizations. They both work in the same sort of industry, but they have different levels of security, right? So some of them are more lax and some of them are more secure. Passwords, right? One of the first things you do when you log in is you type in your password, right? That's pretty universal. But actually, just because someone's typed in that password, how do we know for a fact that is Afrin or Rajiv? We don't, right? We're just trusting that. You could have my password, I could have your password. Anyone here could exchange passwords, or just write it on a post-it note and someone else takes a photo. Bim bam bosh, you've got someone who has access to your account. So this idea of typing in your password, this I've injected that password in there, that's something that we can't just afford to trust. That's why we have a zero trust framework. So validation of users is one of the first and most important aspects of security. So there's a difference between passphrases on a mainframe and passwords. And what you'll notice is the passphrase, you can have a 16 character length. Technically, the limit is like, I think 100 or over 100. And in this case, Afrin is using a passphrase with alphabetics of both cases, numerics and special characters. So if we were to say that there's a 16 character length, so that's the power, and we say alphabetic, so 26 in the English lexicon, multiplied by 2 because we've got a mixed case, and then add 10, 0 to 9, and then add like another 4, that's 66. 66 to the power of 16 is 129 octillion permutations, right? That's pretty fucking hard to crack. That's 95 quadrillion years to brute force that. And I'll show them where we've got these numbers from about how to brute force. Whereas let's say Rajiv he's lazy. He's just used a password, something really, really poor. Only 6 characters, not even the limit of a password, which is 8 on a mainframe. And he's only used alphabetics, no numerics, no special, no mixed case. Maybe the company that Rajiv works for doesn't actually enforce that. 26 to the power of 6 permutations, and I think only 309 million, which sounds like still a lot. When it takes 46 minutes to brute force, that is pathetic, right? We can do better. So these numbers, to put them into perspective, they're actually located here. So if you had 12 RTX 5090s, if you had a password hash, you could literally just brute force those. And like we said, lowercase letters only, 6 length, there you go. numbers, uppercase, lowercase, letter symbols, 94 quadrillion years. So just in case anyone thinks Niall's bullshitting me on the maths there, no, I'm not. So passwords can be cracked. All you need is a hash digest. I might not have time for the questions. Can we save this to the end? Just because I've got a lot to cover. But if you ever want to message me on LinkedIn as well, I'll answer any questions anytime. So the implied attack also assumes that MFA is not used or has been bypassed. We'll get to MFA literally in a minute. So one of the things we can do is have pass rules, password or passphrase rules. So you want to have a strong encryption algorithm. So if I get access to the database, I can't just, again, crack into it. We want to have a change interval. So you can't change it every day. Otherwise, for example, let's say I forced Afrin to change her password every month, and she changes it, and then she can reset it 12 times in one day. She can set it back to what the original password was. She can rinse through those 12 numbers and then go back to the first one, right? Because it only stores the last 12. So we want to set an interval that's longer than one day. Mixed cases, which we want to be support, special characters the same. And then we don't want to have any exits, because what they can be used is to circumvent the rules. So it excludes a list of common passwords. And the interval options, basically we want to force them to change their password. We want to basically set these intervals up so that they have to be done, let's say every 28 days. That's what I tend to say, because that's every month if you consider the shortest month being February. So that way you can't just have a password that is, you know, Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June. And then when you get to a certain point, obviously 365 is not divisible by 28. Then you're going to have one more password. You've got to at least think of one which isn't a month. Even if you just make something up like Smarch or January, it's like you've at least tried. So in a mainframe, if we were to set this up, in our set wrap of options menu, we basically have a system interface that would look like this. It's referred to as the green screen, but it is actually multicolored, which is probably the most advanced aesthetic about it. It's got more than one color. But basically, we can set these up here. So the algorithm there, for example, whether MFA is available, mixed case backup characters, special characters, etc. So that's what I do. So, you know, if you put in the wrong password more than 3 times, or on the 4th attempt, it will lock you out. How many passwords are forbidden? 13. So again, you can't just use January, February, and then the next month you go back to January, February, March, April. You've got to have at least one more. How many days do you have to wait before you can change it? 1. So even if you reset it today, like I say, today's the 1st of December, I want to set it to December. Tomorrow I want to set it to something else, I have to wait 1 day. So again, we can set that up. That's how it would all look. And I wanted to have more of this in my slides so you can actually see how it would really look. So number 2, Afrin and Rajiv, they work. So they probably get an identity card, right? Like you guys have got one to get into this building. You have to tap that to get in. So let's say they've got that. Maybe they even have a phone and they have some, you know, thumbprint to get in, and that thumbprint enables them to use different authenticators. So you know, Microsoft, Google, that's I think this the Google logo's changed. One login, all these other ones that I've never heard of, right? And then again, that could be, so the enhanced authentication could be the like ID cards. It could be apps on your phone. It could be timed or non-timed one-time passwords, privileged access management. And effectively what we can do is we can see this as a means to biologically validate the person. So we know that, you know, Afrin has a strong password and Rajiv doesn't, but how do we check it's really her? Well, we can prove it. So Afrin can't get past the enhanced authentication without proving who she is. So we basically validated that. Now, sort of getting into how do we check, basically that's, or why do we check, in fact, that's the zero trust philosophy. So never trust, always verify. I don't know if Idris is Idris. He could say he's Idris, and he could have a birth certificate that says something completely different, right? So that's why we want to check these things. It's a matter of authenticating every single user. And examples include, like we said, multi-factor authentication, privileged access management, timed or non-timed one-time passwords. Right. So, it's also worth saying that you can also do that with a device. So I can also say, for example, Afrin's logging into my mainframe system through a laptop that we've never seen before. That's a bit weird. Why is she on a different laptop? And we can actually authenticate the device, which is why sometimes you'll see some messages pop up like you've tried to log into LinkedIn on a device you've never logged in on before. So can you validate that? Because it will actually store like cookies on your hardware. So MFA basically boils down to something you know. So obviously we've done the password or the passcode. Maybe that's even into your phone, something you have. So we can talk about a card, we can talk about the little digipasses or the tokens, we can talk about apps, and then something you are. So that's something you literally can't change. It's immutable. Your face, your fingerprint, you know, I can't have Idris's fingerprint. It's literally not possible. There is certain ways around it, but in theory, unless I literally cut his finger off, I don't have his fingerprint. And I won't do that yet. So that's why we talk about, say, enhanced authentication related to zero trust. And this actually is strictly necessary now because of compliancy rules. So PCI DSS, NIST, DFS, which is obviously the Department of Financial Services. But basically, if you are an organization in the world that exists, you have to be compliant. You don't have a choice. Nowadays, multi-factor is nearly always a mandatory step. You can't skip it. And as I say, MFA, as we've shown it, is a compliance mandate. GDPR actually doesn't specifically name MFA. It just says you must protect data, but obviously MFA is a great way to prove you're doing that. So that's that one. So if we do have enhanced authentication and Afrin's company, Afrin's employees use it, that's further proof of our identity. It's a security best practice and therefore compliant. Whereas let's say Rajiv doesn't, no further proof, no security best practice, non-compliant. Okay. Another step that's really important is kind of like this building, right? Is this building open every day of the week, 24 hours? No. Should it be? No. Most buildings aren't open 24 hours every day of the week, right? They might be open within limits. So let's say Afrin and Rajiv work at a call center. Let's just use that as an analogy, right? They want to get through the front door. Okay, should they have access every day of the week? That depends on their contract. So in this case, let's say that they work 9 to 5, which is a pretty standard business hour, right? And in fact, of every day of the week, they only work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they do not work at the weekends. Pretty much like school, okay? 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, weekdays, easy. So they're not expected to work overtime. They're not expected to do overtime. They're not expected to log in outside of that shift. If they have, they're being admitted into the system, it should only be within these parameters, right? That's a given. So that's where, again, we can set up ingress limiting. We can say, for example, you literally physically cannot log into a system, right? Rockstar recently, they just laid off like 35 people who are trying to form a union, which is scummy, and that's a whole thing side. But anyways, the fact is they tried to do that, and one of the biggest issues that was going on with their system is you can't check your emails outside of business hours and outside of the office. You physically have to be in the office to check your emails. So if you take this laptop home and you work for Rockstar, you can't check your emails until the next day. And so a lot of people were getting emails that are really important about like legislation changes, about like, how the union busing was going down, and they couldn't tell because that device wasn't accessible. So that's one obviously way it can be used negatively, but let's just, for this sake, say it's for security. That means that we don't have to log more hours. We don't have to monitor more hours of the day. We only have to monitor those 95 hours, and we only have to do that for 5 days a week. Therefore, we don't have as much data to sift through. Right, okay, I've got to look at every single day of the week and every single hour, so 24 times 7 rather than whatever, like 9 times or 8 times 5. More likely for suspicious activity to be noticed, because I could potentially see what Idris is doing if we're in the same building, if we're in the same, jurisdiction, and therefore overall reduce risk. Let's say, again, Rajiv's organization doesn't do that. There's more reliance on activity monitoring. It's actually harder for those teams to kind of sift through the data, and there's less likely for suspicious activity to be noticed. Sorry, I'm just very conscious of time, blasting through this. So again, in the system, we might look at this, like, let's say we've got Big Nash or Niall Ashley, and he's got the installation data presented for this section. Ignoring all of the group access and all this bullshit here, you'll see the section revoked inactive, days of the week user can log on, and time of day user can log on, and you'd literally set that. And the commands to do something like that is alt user, so altering user. In this case, we use Big Nash. It's in italics because that's obviously, it could be anyone. And then we said when, well, the days is within the weekdays, or we could have all, or we could have weekends, or we could specifically say, SMTW FS, and we would skip Thursday. And then the time, we do it in 24-hour : 24-hour, so 08:30, 17:30. And again, we give a half-hour leeway. Maybe they are taking a call and they can't skip that call, they can't hang it up, or they log in early for whatever reason, But again, we can roughly set those parameters there. So next, we'll look at least privilege and role-based access, which we've merged into one. So there's a lot of different functions you can have in a mainframe. You can have universal access, you can have super user access, you can have UID of 0 for Unix, you can have exemption to command and verifier, which we'll look at later. And they don't need any of that, right? Because Rajiv and Afrin are only working in a call center. Why the hell would they need any more than that? So their role is call center. All the other stuff, superfluous, okay? It's not necessary. So their access should only contain permissions related to that role, to the call center role, strictly only. In just the same way, a hospital receptionist will be able to look at, let's say, they'll go, Idris, okay, you phoned in, you know, you've got whatever illness, we can book you in for an appointment on this day at this time. They cannot diagnose you over the phone. The receptionist cannot diagnose you because they're just a receptionist. Their role does not permit that. And yet a doctor will be able to do that because their role does permit that. And equally, a pharmacist, you'll see that a pharmacist isn't just allowed to give you your prescription. They usually have to get that validated by their manager, right? So again, that's all to do with roles. Certain people have to do the kind of late logging, like I'm going to log this prescription to that person, and someone else has to validate that. So least privilege is basically what is the absolute minimum access that you need, and therefore we limit user access to sensitive data or systems depending on the minimum access, and it therefore reduces the risk of breaches from threat agents. So when we say minimum access that you need, it's not just, okay, you only need this, but we'll give it to you forever. It's we only give you this access on the days that you need it. If it's a project, we take it away once the project's over, right? If it's a change, it's a change window. As soon as the change window is expired, it's gone. One good way of doing that is role-based access, which is where we would connect users into groups and permit those groups into resource profiles. So we're basically saying Idris is a student, so his denotion is student, his role is student, and therefore he gets the same access as every other student, unless there's a project, maybe he's doing a dissertation or a thesis, in which case he gets like a temporary access group, which will give temporary access to that resource. And that might be a different resource. So let's say you're in the library and you need to go to the, I don't know, the vaults, the restricted section for some black magic information that shouldn't be seen by ne'er-do-wells, but you've got access to that because you've got that requested and approved. So it's all about users are connected to groups, groups are permitted to the resources, the users are never directly permitted. So access is not on a per user basis, it's via groups, and each group may represent a team or department or a function. So for example, in our system, we have sec Unix and sec RACF. So sec being security, and Unix obviously being Unix, and RACF being the remote access resource access control facility. Sorry, I'm thinking of RSF. Remote access resource access control facility. That one. So that's basically what we have. Two groups for the security team, and those are all starting with a prefix of at, meaning an access group, at sec Unix, at sec RACF, but then they fall under a holding group of security. So there's no access through the security group, it's through sec RACF and sec Unix. And equally, if you're a database administrator, you might have access under an at DB2 ADM, so database DB2 admin. And again, we grant access in that regard. So that should be used in conjunction with resource classification, by the way. So we denote which resources need securing to what extent. So Rajiv and Afrin are both in the call center group. That is where they should be. That's all good. We're all happy with that. They have the same role, so they should have the same access, right? That's kind of logical. And so access is granted, as I say, at a minimal level, but through role-based access control. Which is one of the most commonly used methods for adhering to least privilege. So if we were to look at two roles, let's say I'm a manager at a call center, I would have connect authority to an at center group or at call center. That connect authority allows me to add new people. I'm the manager, right? I can add new people to that group. Idris is just on my team. I can add him to that group. I can remove him from that group. But that's my limit, right? I can't just run around willy-nilly and destroy the system, right? That's all I get as a manager, a different level of authority. But the other thing is I don't have a revoke date, right? Because I'm a full-time employed member of staff. There's no revoke date. If you have a contractor, you'd only have use authority, so you have a different level of authority, and you might have a revoke date because you're on a contract. You're only on a 6-month contract, right? So that's how we can set that up. We can set up users and actually grant them access at different levels for different times. So in this regard, I appreciate it's a bit lengthy, but basically the difference is, as I say, granted via groups rather than per user, easier for security administrators to maintain access rather than harder, because instead of me having to add each of you manually, I just put you all in one group and then they can just take that group off, right? If this university says you're not allowed access to, I don't know, to the canteen outside of certain hours, they would do that for everyone, right? They wouldn't do it on each specific user's basis when you've got hundreds of thousands of students across the world. So it decreases the likelihood of orphaned access, which is basically the idea of if I grant access to let's say I grant access to Idris and his account is called like, I don't know, student A, and then he leaves and then someone else joins the college and they get the account student A, and I haven't removed Idris's access. It doesn't matter that that account is no longer used by Idris. That person still has the same access. They get inherited that. Less capacity for staff to commit espionage or exploit vulnerabilities. Restrictions are a form of safety for the system, also for the individual. We know for a fact you can't have done something because you and your peers don't have access. Whereas when it's on an individual basis, we have to check every individual user. So that overall, the risk is reduced versus increased. So again, I've created a little mock-up here. So if we look in Z-Secure, we look at a user. Let's say I work in security. I've got the owner of Hash Security. It's a holding group, and I've got set admin security administration as my default group. I've got access to app development, to the Kix admin access, to the DB2 admin access, the set Unix security for the Unix side of things, security for RACF, systems programmer role, and CKR full or CKR suite, the full Z-Secure product suite. So that's a RACF user ID that has excessive access. We can resolve that to ensure that the principle of least privilege is adhered to. So, I mean, you can imagine, right? If I work in security, do I need to do app development? No, that's probably a software engineering role or an app development role. Kix, that's to do with transactions. I probably don't need access to that. I can do the security side of Kix, but not the actual Kix kind of admin work. DB2 admin, I'm not doing any database work, right? I create profiles into a database. I'm not administrating the database. So what we can do in this case is we can start using a D command, literally just removing them. And with certain stuff, let's say for the sake of DB2, I did need access for a project. Set revoke date. It's easy. And then you can see that then just comes down to one temporary group, one temporary connection, and then 1, 2, 3 that I actually have permanent access to. And we just tidied that way. Then the last one is prevention and detection. So this is really important for following, again, the cybersecurity framework. So the National Institute of Standards and Technology. We want to detect, respond, recover, identify, protect, and then basically redo. It's all about protecting our system. So let's say Afrin and Rajiv are accessing the system. Obviously, we know that their access is restricted, but how can we further ensure that no inappropriate access is happening? And if anything is detected, basically, how can we ensure that staff are alerted urgently and able to resolve that? So basically, we've got 3 products that we can use, and hopefully this animation works. And yeah, there you go. So we've got Z-Secure Command Verifier, which intercepts and prevents the execution of non-compliant commands, basically by you create a list of policies, and then it will stop certain things. It will create limits and parameters. So Z-Secure Command Verifier is very commonly used by any IBM customer. So I can think of 3 major retailers in the UK. I can't tell you legally which ones they are, but I could tell you that one of them's blue, one of them's green, and one of them's no, 2 of them are green and one of them's blue, and therefore you can kind of guess which ones they are. But I didn't tell you, so it's fine. No NDA is breached. Threat detection for ZOS is some AI software that is used for detection of anomalous, potentially malicious data or access to the IBM ZOS platform. And it basically, when it says AI software, it's kind of debatable if it's AI or if that's just used as a kind of capture, oh, look, it's AI, guys, it's brand new. Everyone loves AI, right? But it's basically just using behavioral analytics, which you can actually hard code, so it's not even AI really. But Z-Secure Alert is the other one. So activity is checked in real time to ascertain if any specified criteria is being met. If it is, an alert is provided. Alerts are sent out. You can send them out to pages, to phones, to email addresses. Many alerts are provided by IBM, but custom ones can also be set up. So again, I've actually created some little graphics for that. But just for the sake of, again, talking about compliance, I know that if you study computer science, this is probably going to come up. This is relevant for PCI DSS, NIST, and DORA, which is obviously the big one from the EU. And as you can see, it's required as of, and they're all in the past. So it's basically mandatory. And as I say, just to, again, do a little comparison, let's say Afrin has all that and Rajiv doesn't, because they work for different call centers with different procedures. Inappropriate commands are prevented, which is good. Any suspicious activities analysed, logged, reported, which is good. And then compliance is maintained. Hooray. And for Rajiv, none of that happens because his company doesn't give a shit, basically. And they're basically going to get sued to high heaven. So again, if we try to visualize this, in Z-Secure, you create, in the X facility class, you can basically see a load of policies here. They look like profiles, they're called profiles, but they're actually policies. In this case, I've got a load and I'll quickly list off. So the first one allows permitted user to have the special attribute, which basically gives them shitloads of access. But only, the first one means that the user, it limits who can have this special attribute, when you run an alt user command. If I alter your user ID, who can actually give you special, that's very limiting. These ones here are to do with the connect command. So the first one limits who can assign the group special attribute. The second one is limits who can run this connect command to the security group, to a specific group. Third one is an ID and the equals rack UID that limits users from running the connect commands with their own user ID, so connecting themselves to access to a group. Obviously, these are to do with the dataset ACL, or the access control list. So we're saying who can or can't connect themselves, permit themselves to sys1.rackf and sys1.rbackup, which is the rackf live database, primary database, and the backup database. Next one is that one is an exemption. So if you're connected to C4 exempt, none of these apply to you, which is obviously really dangerous. We want to limit that. But we do want to create a profile so that we can say that it's got no one on the access list and therefore no one is exempt. Pre-ord, these are to do with auditing the command before it's run. You can actually also do a post-ord, but typically you want to check something before you run the command, right? These are to do with the user attributes. So again, earlier we had who can assign the special attribute via an alt user. This is just who can have the attribute, or who can actually, who should have it already. And then we've got, for example, setting your default group to sys1, giving yourself a UID 0, which gives you a lot of access, super user access in WAVEZ. And then c4r.user.password equals user ID basically means users can't set their own password to be their own user ID, right? It wouldn't be particularly helpful if my password was Dave and my user ID was Dave, right? That'd be pretty bad. That was command verifier. Now quickly we're going to look at secure alert. So again, it would look like this. And by the way, if you actually look on a mainframe, this is exactly how it would look. I've literally spent time modeling this to be authentic, so that this gives you kind of a bit more insight before you get a job in. If you ever get a job in this industry, you'll say, "Oh, I've seen this before." For your sake, I hope so. But it's a tough economy, right? So these are, for example, these are quite straightforward. So if a user ID that's unknown, that actually hasn't got a user, so say if a user that doesn't have a user ID has logged on, that creates an alert. We would also probably create an incident in that case, because that's a massive security breach. Log on from a break glass rackf user ID. So we just did a master key ceremony, which is to do with digital certificates. That we use break glass IDs because they're quite strong, powerful IDs with lots of access. So we lock those down in a vault, CyberArk. And when they're logged into, we get an alert every time. If the ID of Asta is added to the access control and server resource profile, that means every user ID, then that creates an alert. Another one is for UAC greater than none. UAC is universal access. That means basically ID star means every user ID. UAC means including non-users, i.e. unknown users with no ID. So again, that's tracked. And we've got all sorts. Warning trait is added. That's bad. We want to have an alert when that happens. rackf commands are issued by non-special user. Even though they'd be blocked, we want to know that someone's tried to do that, right? Additional removal of the system operations of auditor attributes. Additional removal to user of UID 0. Again, that's really powerful. So we have alerts for all of these things, and we can, browse them, edit them, and copy them. So covered quite a lot. I know you have a question. Hopefully we'll have a short bit of time, but we tried to cover in this session a brief overview of security, passwords and passphrases, enhanced authentication, MFA, ingress limiting, least privilege and role-based access, and then prevention and detection. And we've actually looked at some products, and I've actually visualized them so you can see exactly how they look in real life. What time am I on? 3:53. I have 2 minutes. Well, I'm fucking done actually. So yeah, hopefully that's all right. I've tried to cover as much as I can in however long I had. But yeah, thank you very much. And just in case, again, you forget the name of the session or who I am, then there you go. Sorry, just trying to smash that out. You had a question, sir?
Yeah, just a very simple question. The 4 slides, it says it takes this long.
Yep.
Is there supposed to be like typing one combination at a time?
I don't know. If you go on Hive Systems, they've got a whole, let's say, hivesystems.com/password. They've got a whole article about this. But basically, they've said that they've got a system, they've got a password hash, and they've got this set up with 12 graphics cards, the RTX, which I believe is what NVIDIA RTX 5090s, and they basically said if they have this hash, they have, let's say they have, for example, you heard of password stuffing. So basically, let's say Yahoo Mail gets hacked and all of their passwords get like breached. That ends up on websites like Have I Been Pwned, you know, like PWNED. Those websites will have a list of basically every user ID that has had their data breached. Let's say I know for a fact that your email has been breached. I know for a fact that your general credentials have been breached. I can see, let's say you've got a Nintendo account, and let's say Nintendo's passwords have been breached. I can then try to stuff that same password that's been breached previously, it's been leaked previously, stuff it into your PlayStation account or your Xbox account or your Steam account. And chances are, right, with stuff like video games, if you have one account, you probably have another one, right? Most people have probably more than one device, even if it's historical, right? Like I don't have a PlayStation anymore, but I had one, so I still have a PlayStation ID, PlayStation account. So that's what we can do. So the account systems like this will basically find an account, find an email address, and then look at any password that was previously used, stuff that in first, may work. And if it doesn't, it just breaks through everything it can.
I think that's from you can use like John the Ripper, isn't it? Because I've seen that.
John the Ripper, yeah.
Like reference before.
Yeah.
Like Rocky word list and John.
Yeah.
Still.
Exactly. So when we talk about here, by the way, about encryption algorithm KDFAES, basically, if I got access to, let's say it was Sainsbury's mainframe rack of database, and they weren't using KDFAES, they're using, I think it's DES is the other one that they can use. No one uses DES because it's completely out of date. I'm pretty sure it's DES anyway. It's either DES or RSA. But basically, if I had access to that and I used John the Ripper, you can use something called, I think it's like RACF2 text or something, to turn the database into like a legible text format. And then it would basically, that would, or I think it might be called like John for RACF or something. Anyways, there's a function in John the Ripper that can basically break into a database that's been taken out. So yeah, it's really dangerous if you don't use the highest level of encryption algorithm. And in this case, like what they're saying is, if you have a password that's only 4 characters long and it's numbers only or lowercase only, you know, basically all you have to do is what, that'll be 4 to the power of 10 or 4 to the power of 26 to the power of 4 or 26 10 to the power of 4. You've not that many permutations, right? It wouldn't take long for a decent system to break into that. So it just brute forces it. Yeah, in theory, it could literally just do like AAAA and then AAAB and then so on until it does every single option. Any other questions before you go? Because I think you want to do your last challenge and you two want to see who wins. It's time. I like the picture. I like the stickers on your laptop, by the way. Go on. Sorry, you can ask a question.
What's the way you get into from? Now, where are you actually?
Oh, where are you getting them from? Today, nowhere. Fucking nowhere. Just like you're not getting any RAM anymore because it's all being used by all the data centers. But this was in an ideal world before AI became such a cesspit. Better times, eh? Yeah, I mean, so I've sent this slide deck to Afrin, so if you guys want access to it, it's all there. But for reference, you know, if there's anything that anyone wants to query, so for example, these products, I'm more than happy to discuss those. I haven't actually used it actually with ZOS because I've not got any clients who use it, and I'm a consultant. So if a client doesn't use it, I don't use it. But I've used Command Verifier and Z2 Alert quite a lot. And obviously, like I say, we can talk about stuff like specific policies and how they work. There's usually, in the IBM documentation, there's like whole descriptions. So it will be something like this denotes what is being protected, so it's the data set or the connect command or the alt user command or whatever. And then it will be, for example, the dot something will be what aspect of that. So the user dot attribute, and then you've got to specify which attribute. So maybe you say none and use an asterisk as a catch-all, or you could specify the specific attributes. And again, it's all in different orders. So sometimes you get equals rack UID, sometimes it's user ID, and it all works differently. But there's a whole like IBM documentation website for explaining that, just as there is for things like, where was it? If you want to change your set RACF options commands, like, you know, if you want to change your set RACF options system settings, you'd use commands to change all of these. And again, I can get all that information for you. But basically, yeah, what you'll see is that this is roughly how it looks. If I logged into a mainframe right now, I can prove it, but you just have to trust me. That's what it looks like. It's And I appreciate who here's gone to like a conference or gone to like an IBM event or something. You've seen like what a mainframe looks like. So you, Adam, Rajiv, yeah. Oh, you did that one. You weren't there, were you? You weren't there. Okay, and sorry, I don't know. He wasn't there. Okay, so unfortunately, mainframes do really look like this. But nowadays, a lot of mainframe sites, I think Next is an example, and I don't work for Next, so I can say this. I'm pretty sure they use a tool called Zoe or Zowie, which is ZOWE, and that's basically like a nice graphical user interface that goes over the top of this. And if you ever do Z Explore, you'll know what Zoe looks like because it's a lot. That's used quite often, but they use a lot of the time these Explorer, which is effectively like basically looks like a VDI. You log into a kind of, I don't know what to call it, like a dashboard, like a Windows dashboard, but it's not Windows, it's Zoe. And then you can open your terminal and your mainframe connections and all that, and use like Visual Studio Code. So that's yeah. Anyways, you're getting a call from Ibby now. So it's all right. I think we're done. Do you want to take over and do your thing? Sorry, guys, I didn't want to take too much of your time. Hopefully that was interesting.
Oh, good.
We'll take a 10-minute break to just eat. You guys can have some drinks with this and that if I like need to run and Bunsen.
So what you said is we get one bottle each.
No, it's
Doable.
then 10 minutes after.
Yeah, I do the last question. Both of them are
After 10.
waiting for the question.
After 10 minutes.
Any other questions about
Such an accurate sticker for Rajiv.
It's such an accurate sticker.
Almost exactly. The hair, the face shape, the body,
That way. Is it? Where is it? Where's it?
the laptop.
Yeah, it looks
Oh, it's the laptop. Well, has this been live streamed the whole time?
Yes, it's been watching it.
Screens look like a system used to use at Lloyd's Bank.
Yeah, that's because Lloyd's use mainframes. Yeah.
The old collection system counts in there. IBMI,
IBMI or IBMZ?
Yeah, sure. It's
Okay.
3 years. That's what we call them in the back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The screens look identical to that, especially some trade experience IBM sites. They're on about mainframes and all the options and everything like F9's leaving.
Yeah.
Now,
So I'll tell you what.
it's just like, oh, I know the system. I've seen it before.
Yeah, I'll see if. Let me just quickly go.
At the time, we used to think, oh, it's better like the square back. You see, like the green text and that background.
Yeah. To be fair, it's people think it's hideous. It looks kind of like I always think it's like a Fallout hacking mini game, right? And it does. It genuinely does. But you get used to it. So that's a really like low res picture. But basically, that's what the main screen looks like on almost every system. So you log in and you have more options here. And then you'd have stuff like who's the user ID, what's the time, and you can set all that up. You can change it, you can edit it. So we have one at Christmas where we put it to, it has some like a Christmas tree and it has like snow falling down. Yeah. But you're right in that you get the bottom like this. So typically I actually change this because I think split is a completely useless function. I'm a bit of a hater of split. So I don't want to have like if I have this screen here, remember this? I don't want to have half the screen like there, and half the screen there. It makes more sense to use like split down this like that. Split does the horizontal split. I fucking hate it, right? It's just annoying. So and swap only lets you switch between two panels or two screens, what you currently have and what you were just on. So if I start a new panel and then start another new panel, I can only switch between the last two, the one I'm on now and the one that I most recently created. What I tend to do is I change the key binding for F2. I set it to swap next. And then you can go, like, as you press F2, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So it's just so much more functional. But there's loads of little changes I make. So one of them is, I hate this, right? Command line at the bottom, nah. At the top, I always have it at the top.
Yeah, I've got these three things there. It's like, I don't know, it's just like, When we used to just hit all the numbers and you can skim through.
Yeah. So what they reckon is, because obviously sounds really insane out loud, but computer mice are actually new. They're like a new thing. They weren't learning. You need to be able to use a mainframe ideally with one hand and with just a keyboard. Right, that's the whole way they're designed.
That's from Linux days.
Yeah, exactly. And well, it was MS-DOS, Windows. So you got MS-DOS and IBM DOS, and the IBM old mainframes. As soon as they had a terminal and they had an interface, you would, you know, if you look at like old IBM keyboards, I think they're two separate things. I might be wrong. Developed by Microsoft, it was also sold by that company to the open market as MS-DOS. It was sold by IBM from the early 90s, blah, 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 blah. Both the operating systems were identical or almost identical into 1993 when IBM was selling PC-DOS 6.1 with its own features. The collective shorthand for PC-DOS and MS-DOS was DOS. So yeah, it's a bit confusing because they're the same fucking thing, right? It's like having like Apple Windows and Microsoft Windows. You'd be like, what the hell? Like, but IBM old keyboards. So if you ever go to, and actually I want to work with Afrin, Rajiv, and Idris to organize this, but basically if you want to organize, like, basically I want to call it a school trip without sounding kind of patronizing, to IBM personally. They have a museum in the basement and it's got loads of their old like terminals, old computers, old like keyboards, and it's really cool because you've got like yeah, exactly. One of the things that's interesting is, and I can't see one, but basically what they used to have was the you would actually use that button to enter a command. You wouldn't use enter, you'd use your right control. So if you talk to a lot of old people who use mainframes, who've been on mainframes for decades, they'll always rebind the hotkey or keep the hotkey so that right control is to enter a command. But then annoyingly, enter just starts a new line. And I'm like, why would I want to start a new line rather than enter a command? It's called enter. This IBM Hersey is amazing now. I don't know if there's pictures of it, but I'd love to organize a tour for like you guys to go and like get the museum tour. But they have like all the old, that's kind of what it looks like. They have all the old like mainframe systems. That's the outside. But they have, that's nothing. I don't even know what that's doing there. But they have a whole area with just monitors. And it's kind of crazy seeing like old monitors. And just, so if you imagine if the monitor's like there, just behind it, there's another set of shelves and you can walk around them and that's got all the old keyboards. And they actually have a system that's got this tiny little, it almost looks like, you know, when you've got systems in physics, they teach physics and it's got like the, I don't know what to call it, the graph where it's got like the signal waves, like an oscilloscope or something. Yeah. It's got one of them, it screens in it, but it basically is playing Pac-Man. It's this tiny little screen and you're playing Pac-Man on it. It's really cool, actually. There's another angle, but yeah, I'd love to take you guys there. We wanted to do it this year, but it was too much to organise with too little notice. But anyways, I'll close that down. Sorry, everyone. I know you were going to do something. We should be here soon.
Oh. Should be.
Should be here around the whole. How many people are dialing in remotely? How many people are dialing in remotely? Dialing in remotely.
Oh, I think
a lot of your English, by the way. 7. It's not so bad. Numbers all together.
Yeah.
Oh, not Nishka. Not Nishka. No, get rid of that Nishka. Get out, Nishka. She's typing now. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Do an extra into the terminal. You sharp like in the dongle. You don't need to repair it.
All right, guys. Be ready. It's going. You only have 2 minutes before we release the last task. Sorry, a minute.
You turn his laptop off. So like, how many of this page? Yeah, refreshing. It doesn't get the last one.
I mean, she
Time is it?
he's a big, you know.
It's gonna be 10 soon. Are you ready on the page? Are you ready? A minute left.
Get the request to go to Renda.
To start
It doesn't even go.
It should be live now, I think. Well, the flight is on live here. Ben, do you see it? Yeah. Let's seize it.
Man, don't do it. It doesn't matter.
That is, you don't wait for 2 minutes for the voucher to be available. No, it should be available. So now, we're about to make a few funny decisions because we're using pre-hosting. And our pre-hosting are very funny limitations.
Okay.
So the backend, for example, Renda deletes all files uploaded after like I think an hour or so. So basically I have to distribute all that external data storage. So
Okay.
look the challenge. I have to see upload a kit before they can. They see the challenge but not the file attached to it. Hold on. Ooh.
That's just the time.
Very much excited to can go.
The problem is I forgot the user password.
What did you?
Why?
You forget your password.
I've been writing some files on what else? I forgot one which is about like baking and
It's so bad.
I have to upload that I've uploaded soon to I think to like how you guys are quite fun. So we're gonna do we want to do as a keynote actually. So if you can do one sort of like house cakes similar to baking, it's similar to Mainframe in terms of stuff like scalability, input processing, it's like how you've got to be quite so like I've done this whole like article comparing different aspects of baking to like scroll up. But those yeah, sure, yeah, I'm including that. So I need to, the article's not finished, but I need to basically finish collecting it, and then I'll update it. Obviously, what I was going to suggest now is I'll send the content in like plain text forms to you. And then if you want to load it, you can also load it on the ICN website on their blog, and then that will automatically give you some like and that can go on to the Focus Champion. So it's worth it. I'll send that to you. That would be great. We've collaborated on that. So technically, that's all fine. It's all fair game.
Yeah, you can code flag.
No. Not got a class then.
We have a lot of and snacks. No, don't use together.
Well, I don't go. I don't know when going.
Yeah, but the refreshments as well. So this is the new block.
You guys all coming to Birmingham in 2 weeks? It's next week, 2 weeks. They're doing that.
Stop saying.
What was it?
You said refreshments.
On Amazon.
Yeah, because we had Amazon one which
Oh, yeah.
from the society, so we had to order.
So when that comes, you just grab the cups as well.
It's finished today.
Okay. But you also do stuff away, you know. You also do stuff away from the pickup location.
It takes 10 minutes to get there.
It's you that are to walk there alone.
Yeah,
And you're gonna check when you get.
but it's like one stop away from the pub.
Okay. Ooh, so first person to get this. Hold on, I scrolled up just so you show up on the screen. See what I do for you.
There's 2 prizes. One is for the person who finishes it first, and one is for the person who gets the most.
Me,
Yeah.
I'm still working.
I'm just tired today, you know.
Yeah. One. Go to the next, then I was in the paragraph. Two. The time of that workstation, my actual laptop for uni. It's will be extra, so it's in that degree, so it should be get it sometime. It's not the uni it's the student finance people that give it to you. Well, the jurors say. So I'm purchased by the facilities.
I mean, I actually don't
It should auto impress. It's a live database, it should auto change right now.
Oh, you got it.
Loser.
I'll give you part of the society.
Meeting or event.
It's not.
Yeah, it's an event, not the meeting, it doesn't happen weekly meetings. So classes with his class, I think.
What? Oh, you teach engine?
No, I haven't been. I've been doing my stuff for
It's on the
last trip of the thing.
It's not very much in there. You've got Scotland.
Based on the group chat, that's how I found out.
You would have been, it would have been good to have you at GSU, but obviously we didn't get and then for everyone in the end, so I guess it's all new.
Anybody who attends anything, that is a rich.
But the Waves Spring event, we're talking to lawyers, and that's still going to go ahead in their site in. I think they said it either in Leeds, Halifax, or Manchester. So obviously you'd have to get a train, but Leeds, Halifax, and Manchester, they're nice big cities. So you'd always like. Well, it depends. Which, yeah, I mean we don't know which office they want to host it at, but what I was going to suggest is you guys could also get like. Obviously it's not cheap, but you could also get like either a hotel or hostel or whatever, and you can stay and make like a good weekend. You know, make an extended time with it. But, yeah, that'd be really good. We're looking to do an event which is hosted by a client. And so we did it in Barclays site in Knutsford last year, or this year actually. And then the idea is you go and you basically get to have 101 and 102 sessions in parallel. So it'd be like 101 entry level sort of security, but also slightly higher level security if you're more experienced. So last year I did the 101, and this year I'd like to do the 102. But obviously I'm also one of the organisers, so I should probably not. Well, it's also like conflict of interest if I'm talking at my own event. But last year we had like guest speakers from like I think we had Fit Software, which are Irish, someone from Broadcom who's American, someone from IBM who's American. We had like a Welsh guy, like from like Cardiff, sort of Aberystwyth area, someone over there, South Wales, and as a speaker. We had another guy, I can't remember where he's from. There's some people from like BMC, some from SMT Data, and they are from I think from Belgium. We had like basic guest speakers from almost every, well not every, but like a load of the main companies. And they came all the way over us. So it was really good opportunity to have that network. You want to get a job. And obviously the whole point about me and the people who run the WAVEZ events is we want to make sure we and get opportunities. No, it's fine. I can get my laptop out in a bit and show you if you want. But the idea with WAVEZ is we organise events and guest speakers. So there's what by events is both in person and virtual, and we basically want to try something like aspiring kind of mainframe talent. So people who are either students or trainees. So like maybe they are in their career but they're very new. We want to help them progress. So with students, we're trying to help them get jobs, and with people who are in the industry, we want to help them learn so that they can excel. But yeah, basically we set up events and speakers, and so I'm at an event which I thought I need to speak to Alfred about, but basically I'm at an event for the next week or the week after, which is hosted by the University of Birmingham, and they're doing an event, and basically I've said like I'll come, I'll do a presentation, and then I'll order some pizza for the. I wasn't sure whether there's more pizza here, but I don't know what's going on. So.
Yeah, I think so. It's better than it's an event you can watch.
But mate, so we've got a student who is he's 17 now, but he went to his first WAVEZ his first GuideShare event when he was 16. he went, he networked. A lot of people have like a lot of admiration for him. Now he's 70. He's done a work experience basically life. Yeah, he was there at T level, so like it's like an A level with work experience. He did his work experience there with IBM. He was actually recording all of their Z Skills Fest events. He was live on camera in press like thousands of these. He presented. He's now presented at GSUK at the conference. A lot of these stuff were at. Then he presented when some service our virtual event in and basically like he's not even like he's not even finished his college course. He started this like he was 16 and like nowhere with a voice until by the time he's 18 he's employable. People are going to be like desperate to have him because he's and that's the thing we helped out. So one of the girls found this last night. So like his predecessor Initiative, she's like dialed it. Initiative's now got a job at the time of homework. And alongside their society, she built from college to do cybersecurity degree, and I just hired my course, and I financed her onto that. So I mean, there's when I made it my mission to help as many people as I can, because you know I'm really loving the opportunities I have. And I want to see other people struggle when there are people out there who can help. Like you're studying cybersecurity, I work in cybersecurity, so it's like, why wouldn't I want to mentor someone and see them succeed? And like I mentored Simran with her every like team leaders. So now she's got a job and she's training one of our clients. We're working on an insurance company together. She's only been employed so like net. So like
The guy, the long guy.
I really did in the flight places.
Hi baby, hi Ricki.
Yeah, and if you just follow the
Maybe if you're going to be in place because I'm on it's that part. Without security on service.
Oh yeah, they don't have to vote. Sorry, Ricki. Do you want me to come? Oh, you do. But yeah, if you've got any questions, mate, I mean, feel free to ask them on anything. No, I'll you have got questions, just drop them as a text. Yeah, I'm more than happy to answer questions. So I can show you stuff. So all the images I will show you like a mock. What I can actually show you. There's no good mark because he's smart. Remember the system.
Yeah, please charge
a big friendship. So would you know? And he's trying to.
Well, I can't take a look at.
When it starts.
Well, no, that's definitely not true. But you know the way the competition works. When you you want to fight, you're about days before you use this. So if you're really first day, I now want to do the next thing and you get to 1 page.
It's not changed. From them, it looks. Yeah, if you want to they've made this so good. It's never changes. You've got software. Involved reps, GTL, yeah. So the problem is because they've done that in design. We haven't raised it, and it's like basically said this is an optional experience. It shouldn't be like most application shouldn't be like yeah, there's those little things that might be that was they want to use but they not need to change it. If they change it, it's basically essentially changing it. That's why you get like GUIs.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's one Joey. So we're not getting that very good coming into a new audience, like the Charades playing in the very
yeah, so that's just start.
So I think
It's funny what
I don't know what but I think I mean, put it this way, you look at your got fun, actually. I mean, if it was like 30 years or however many years ago, you wouldn't even have done that. I think there's also lots of
I can't hear you. You're mute.
Of the games. Yeah, we muted because we're like having snacks and stuff.
I know. I saw you guys fighting over packs of crisps.
Yeah, you missed out on all the snacks. We miss you.
Yeah, I saw you when you were playing the game. Oh my god. Hello there.
She's one of our members.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi guys.
So did you present? Did you want to
Registered,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It's easier for them because we just share the screen and all the virtual members can see the slides as well.
Yeah.
Can you invite me to the team, and then I will share this?
Oh yeah, that works as well, yeah.
Yeah, that could work. How do you?
You need to type my name, my. So Ricki.West at iCloud at Land Registry. Oh. Gov.uk. No, you can't do it that way. Right, you can't do it that way. You need to send me. You need to send me the forward me the meeting invite.
I could go to calendar and then invite from here, maybe.
Yeah. Edit. Where's that?
Edit maybe.
Invitees.
Send.
Yep.
Introduce, so I'll be right back, just in case everyone wonders where I am.
Well,
You know where they
my
are, don't you?
Come
Around the
on.
corner.
I think put it up on that page. I don't want to handle. Which one do you? I'm just getting them. I. He doesn't want to.
Stop stealing this.
Yeah, so we got
Till 6. Yeah, till 6 o'clock.
Stop stealing the cribs.
How are you staring at the camera? Why didn't you come in person?
Because I was sick.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna eat all the popcorn you are supposed to eat.
Why are you
Yeah,
flexing?
Oh, there was like 5 or 4 popcorn and it's all out. Have you gotten them right? Oh, you're joining those games. It's almost finished. There's like only 7 bits in it. I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, I think I should be able to accept here. Admit. Okay. Are you able to share a screen?
I will do.
Share. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on I left the car up there earlier. Someone moved it.
The comp. Oh, I don't know.
That's right.
Let's grab it now.
Right. Here we go. So,
Yeah, I took a good one.
you good to go, Rick? Let's take a look.
Hold on. Yeah, you're gonna use this then.
Yeah. At one point, Ricki said.
Let's do that. I found it out.
Ricki took it off.
Okay.
You also missed out on chocolates.
Bye.
Yeah.
Right.
I do. Where are you in a minute? No, it's fine. That's been Niall. So,
Do you want to set? Do you want to be in this, don't you?
I could take it over there. It's already there. I think I can move the slides.
Yeah, but I don't want you to move the slides. That's the point.
Oh, I could take my laptop away from here. Oh, laptop. I just need mine.
Where you taking me? No, I'm shorter. Hello.
Big room. Big room.
Is that the filter?
Yeah, that's so fake. Come on, that's not mine. It's just a filter.
They're dialed in just for me. Appreciate that. I'm all right, thank you. You have to get back in touch with Ibby. Try calling twice now. Ibby. Try calling twice.
He wants my mom's password.
What, sorry?
He wants my mom's password.
Need your mum's password.
Yeah, because he's a minor, so he has my mom's password at the counter.
When I was walking here, you know,
I walked past the adult zone. Weird place. Weird. Not sure about that. Yeah. Weird moment.
Hi, Alfred. Nash is like right behind you.
Right. Can we see that presentation?
Yes. It's visible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear myself.
I'll bring you with as well.
Who's this guy?
Who's this guy?
All right, okay. Right, so, put them back, no chocolates, these are part of the presentation, back on.
He licked one.
I don't give a shit. You like things and fucking, yeah. You weren't chocolate. Right. So,
Do you want me to mute here or? Yes. Do you want to mute yourself over there? Oh, I'll just do it here. It's fine. Oh, just lower your volume. It's maybe. Oh.
it doesn't make any sense.
I'll try to do something.
Can you not send the slide to Afrin? Can you not?
Huh?
Not send the slide to Afrin?
I'll get it to it's on this thing.
Get him to turn his camera off right now.
Right. Hang on a minute.
Swear that we are using that's what's on.
Well, yeah, it's because I'm using this.
Stop stealing pictures.
Yeah.
Right, now, sort of died. Sorry, I'm better than Mac, but I've got to read this bag of shit instead.
That's offensive to like out of the room.
But
That's got to be a bag of shit.
it is a bag of shit.
You really like playing that crepes, don't you?
What? Now share it.
Yes, it's visible.
Right, okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, for some reason, my laptop decided, well, told me that it had no sound because it was all muted and even turned down and it was still coming out anyway. So, we go. Right, so. Right. So this is my discovery of the lost world of the mainframe. So this is me. I'm an assistant programmer at Land Registry, and I'm the chairman of WAVEZ, along with Niall. So a history lesson from an academic perspective. We'll go through what a student career scope actually looked like to me before I started maths. How I basically got realization, the reality of the industry, how you can get started, and the community. So, a disconnected history lesson. So I was a naive college student. I thought that higher education lecturers knew everything, you know. Academia provided me skills to actually get into a career, and that we left education career ready, right? Linux, Windows basically ran everything. You know, everything got replaced. Mainframes got replaced in the early 90s. They were legacy. You know, they were primeval. You know, things that you would see in a James Bond film. And so the programming languages that you ran today were just literally Java and C, and you know, all the Python and various sort of stuff like that. There wasn't none of this COBOL, because I remember being told by a lecturer that COBOL was ancient and nobody ever used it anymore, and it was just non-existent. My lecturer, she was in her late 50s when I was 17. So that was what? So that was 17 years ago. So 17 years ago, I was told that COBOL didn't exist anymore by my lecturers at college and uni, and because everything had been rewritten back in the 90s. So, and that's exactly what they thought a mainframe was. Basically, James Bond. Okay. So that was me being a naive student, and this is what I thought my career scope was going to be. It was going to be Linux, developers, hardware. You know, I could go on a service desk. You know, I can do graphic design, general databases, .NET, Windows, Linux, PHP, Python. I could be a game developer. There was all sorts of random stuff like that. Right? I tried to put as much crap as I did I could think of. You know, it was cloud, it was blockchain back then. I mean, I left here in 2019 was when I left here. So AI wasn't overly a big thing before really COVID. And then I came to the realization that what you could actually do was you could go into hierarchical database, you could be a system programmer, you can learn things like reps, you could go and be an assembler programmer, you could do ZOS and NQ, and you could learn messaging, you could do TCP/IP from a nuts and bolts perspective, so you actually learn what was underneath TCP/IP, because TCP/IP just isn't the lowest level. You know, there was a lot more stuff, and there was a lot more IBM stuff there.
Okay, something like 18 times.
Well,
Okay, it's on there like 18 times.
there's a lot of stuff listed in there about 18 times. You've got system programming, developers, IMS, Windows, it's everywhere. So, and remember at the time when I wrote this, I was a Kix programmer. So the Enlightenment, this is going to go really quick. okay, actually. My enlightenment was actually in MI. So this is a room in first floor down in MI. Right in the back corner. I can't think of what it's called. So you'll go.
Is it on the ground floor?
No, first floor. And then if you go, so you've got like your middle island, you've got like the middle bit, but if you go up past the offices and into the corner, it's more.
What? It's in the corner.
It's where like registry used to be or something. There used to be like offices and stuff down there. So there was a room there. Henry came. So there's me there. When I met in 2019, so that was about 6 years ago. So there's Henry. We did capture his version of capture the flag. So we had that for 3 days, all thanks to this man again. So he basically did a college. Well, it was a career day, this sort of style thing. Do you still do career weeks? So there's like it's a week generally, like January, that they'll get like careers sort of people learning to do.
It's only for a day or two.
Okay, so it used to be a week. So it used to be a week. It used to be during reading week and stuff, but you had to go to sessions. So you had to go to at least 3 sessions on that career week as part of your course. So otherwise they would fail your course. There was a lecturer here called Jeffrey Ting. He's not here anymore. I think he's at a different.
He's not a lecturer anymore. I think he's just like.
Yeah, so he used to force you to go to him, otherwise you wouldn't pass his module.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's a lecturer.
Yeah. So he taught me Android programming. And I was like, Joe, like, yeah, we did Android with him. But yeah, he told me that I had to go to all of these extras sessions for careers, otherwise you wouldn't pass, because you have to actually get a signed thing to say that you went to one of them. Oh, okay. So Herb used to be a lecturer here. So Herb was a lecturer here from 2018. Yeah, so we started in 2018, and then he left and has gone to Hertz 2023. So, and Henry, Herb brought Henry over because Henry lives in Amsterdam, around place. So he came over for the 3 days to do this session, this capture the flag thing. So it was a 3-day thing, and you had to, go and log on to SPF, and you had to do, you had to follow basically data sets and then change different parameters and run jobs. And then he also had like this back end web server running on Z, where you would then go and decrypt data out of images, and then you could then pull the data out of the images to then give you the key. You would then go and give yourself high authorities, and then you can then go and hack in, and you can go and shut it down. So you could then go and just kill the actual mainframe that he had running and stuff.
And so currently works for the Dutch apps on this, and he does a lot of security, and he's basically optimized that behind the scenes stuff, that's the back end stuff.
Yeah, so
he does a lot of hackathons.
He does. So Henry has a lot of side projects. So he's involved in the Mainframe Society. So he does a lot of stuff, and he does a lot of stuff with us. He does. He runs the AI track at GS. He is also part of GS in the Netherlands. So he's involved in all sorts of stuff.
He's adding a code in some flyers.
Yeah, the flyers are right over there.
Yeah, so these flyers. So adding the code is like an IBM thing. But there's one challenge every day. There's a different challenge every day. So it's pretty much like what you've done over the last couple of days. So there's one challenge every day, and what happens is you can do this challenge in whatever language you like. But for this one is where you can do it in, you have to do it in a Mainframe version of the language. So that way what you can do is you can, it basically creates a Rosetta Stone, you know what I mean? So you can go and look at the code, you can see the problem in every single language. So you can then go and learn what that language is because you know what that does. So that does that line, which then does that line, which, you know, so you can then go and see what a write statement is, what a read statement is, what a loop is in different languages. You can then go and understand the different languages because they all do the same thing.
So if you know Python, you can learn Rabbit, you can learn anything.
Yeah, you can, because it's all the same, it achieves the same thing. So you can then sort of like have that light bulb moment when you go around all these different things. So that's the sort of thing that Henry loves to do. So the reality of the industry, you know, so this is the mainframe. This is what a mainframe looks like. It's a standalone box. You can also have it where it's rack mounted, the same as any other server. So if you've seen a normal Windows or Linux server, they're normally blades. They're not about yay big, about that thick. Yeah, they just go with it, right? So so TSB, the bank, they moved. This was what, in 2016. They moved off one of these and onto Windows. Well, Linux. They decided that they were going to get off the mainframe and go there. So their entire business ran on one of these. Well, I think it was like 2 of these, right? So that's literally 4 cabinets. Well, it would have been 8. Then when they moved everything to Linux, they then replaced that with certain racks that was probably about 6 times the size of this room. Because they filled an entire data center hall to replace that office.
It goes to be measured in tons, weight, rather than like kilograms.
Yeah. So
about the size of a fridge.
Well, yeah. So that is literally. So think about a door of a fridge. It's the same size as the rack. So it's 4 doors. So the Z15. So this came out in 2019. 190 processors, 8 cores, and 14 nanometers, which is massive, really, isn't it? Really, and 40 terabytes of RAM in one of them boxes. Right, 2022, 200 cores, 8 cores, 7 nanometers. So they've shrunk it. 40 terabytes of DDR4, and it's now quantum safe. Then this year, the shiny new one come out. They're not really that different, apart from they've rounded the corners on the design. That's about it. So that came out 208 cores, 5 nanometer now though, but 64 terabytes of RAM inside that.
That's still pretty big, 5 nanometers.
It is when it's 8 core, not when it's 8 core. And it's also got an AI generated chip on it. It's also got, there's a lot on that because the chip is actually that big.
You can
So what's inside and what's
It's the same sort of size as like a credit republic. Say again, same sort of size like a credit republic.
It's about, so it is, so
this really,
I'm trying to think how it's about that big. That's how big the chip is.
that's huge.
It's got, I think it's got something like 22 miles of thread.
if you go and learn what about it, got like demo, you've got to show it on 3D models. You can like see how everything
Yeah.
get that. So it's pretty impressive.
But so this one is the shiny new one. So this one came out 6 months ago.
So you were there when it's not in it.
Yeah, so that was April. So it came out in April. This one has the new chip, which is the Telum 2. It's got an AI engine built on the chip itself, and it's quantumized, which means that everything that it does and everything that it processes can be encrypted on the fly that can't be decrypted by a quantum computer in 20 years' time. So it's quantum safe. So what's happening nowadays is people are harvesting data now, and then because they're waiting for quantum to come in say 10 years, where they can use a quantum computer to crack the encryption. But that is designed so that way, regardless of whether they steal the data now or at the time, they won't be able to crack the encryption because it is quantumized encryption. So, right, now we're going to play some games. Right, so, topic time. How many, what's the percentage, no, what was it? No, numbers. How many of the top 100 banks have run on Mainframe? 95 out. Anyone? Come on, anyone? Numbers?
98.
What's the one? I've got 100.
Out of 100. Come on, you've got to remember though, there's also mobile banks, so you've got like Starling and Monzo and stuff like that. They literally just started, so they wouldn't be off the ground. You've got all the different other banks.
92 then. That's right.
80 points.
99.
Right, so we have 19.
Oh, I don't know. So,
Right, so the percentage of all credit cards. So this is every transaction that you get paid on a credit card. How much of it goes through a Mainframe?
88.
That was like 99.
that's quite high, isn't it?
That's the every credit card transaction for every bank in the globe.
80 now. 75.
I'll say 88.
80. So I give you guys.
70.
Whoa, right. What it's like, I'm getting numbers thrown at me. So how many? 90%? 90?
80. Why did you say 80?
Right. So we have
90.
87.
I was close. I was 1% close.
What did you say?
I said 88.
So you should come down here so you can listen. Right. Okay. What is the average salary of a mainframe as of 2025?
48K.
Average salary of a mainframe in 2025.
80. 77. 82. 83.
Why are you just
64.
60.
85.
95. I heard my company, and last year it was 72. And I was like, what the fuck, I've done one more. So, but it's,
Yeah,
it's obviously last year.
it's 70K. So 70K, and that's after about
Average age of a mainframe.
yes. This is that's relevant. Okay, so 70K, there was a massive jump over COVID. So over COVID, I mean, I didn't actually realise how much minimum wage went up over COVID. It went from what, £9 something to now £12, whatever it is nowadays. So it went up massively. So salaries have had to go up with it. Some people have actually been left behind while others have not. So my salary got left behind. And your salary got you're trailing behind the curve, aren't you?
I was given an exemplary top of like 8%. I was like, I'm still playing good. So it's just,
Yeah, sure. Yes. Yeah.
But that's your employer's fault, not the industry's fault.
Yes. But you've got, so, you know, it's 70K that's when you're in a big team as well. So if you're in a big team, I mean, when I work for the government, so I'm only on half of that. So when I was private, I was on that last year.
Why did you leave?
The reason why I went to government was because there was a lot more opportunity for me to actually grow and learn as a mainframer. No, because what I did was I sacrificed the money now to get it later.
Also, preference guys, me and Ricki works in a company that's actively laying people off. And when we left, not long after we left, more people got laid off. So my boss stayed, I left, and then I joined the Target, and then literally a few months later, the boss went, my old boss got redundant, and then left to join the Target. So it would be an absolute community there, perfectly, like I mentioned. But also, it was on a lot of money because you got someone call out there like every day, every week.
Yeah, so I was on call every day for 2.5 years. So I couldn't be away from my computer for more than 20 minutes.
You have to be able to log into a laptop and respond in 20 minutes. So you imagine going to play or a film or whatever, and then when you get to bring the laptop, you get absolutely very on. If you get a week to fuck off and find somewhere quiet to log in.
Yeah. Or you couldn't just you had to be within 20 minutes of your house.
Yeah.
Like even when I was on holiday, I would be in Italy. I would be in Italy on holiday, and I would have my laptop with me.
It's good when you be on more exactly not being very verbally, but genuinely like
yeah.
How often would you get called or that?
So I could be called every day for a week, or I could be called once every 3 months.
Was you expecting calls at set times or?
No, it's literally, I could get calls at 2 o'clock in the morning, I could get calls at 3 o'clock. Well,
instant response.
yeah, because it had to be, so I had to be online, logged in, looking at it within 20 minutes of having that phone call. Because on the mainframe, it's business critical. It's the fact that if the mainframe goes down, the business stops completely. There's no, if the website goes down, you lose half, you lose your, your online customer, you can still do your shop. It's if the mainframe goes down, everything stops because your entire business runs through it. So,
for example, could use like debit cards.
It's the same as like, think about like Tesco. If Tesco went down, because Tesco is on a mainframe, Tesco would just stop. None of the deliveries could go. Nobody could scan anything on a till. Nobody would do anything. Nobody could scan. Nobody would take online orders.
You could do.
Huh? You would literally just so they would literally have to if the mainframe went down, they would shut the doors. They would shut the doors and they would tell everyone to just leave their trolleys where they were and they couldn't move.
It's the same as Barclays. I think Barclays Bank uses mainframe.
Most banks in the UK.
So if Barclays goes down,
You were working for taking call or dealing with customers internationally, not just UK. Or was it?
No, so well, no, it's just UK.
What I would actually say is, and really correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably better to be on a little bit international clients because say in America, say in America or India, their business hours are actually for depending on much X I'm doing it. Their off business hours are our daytime hours. So for example, their night times are daytime. So we wouldn't typically get calls on call for a client during business hours because it has staff on board. It needs us to call them. When it's not the business hours, it's not their 9 to 5. So if I got a call up for an Indian client, it actually would be quite good to be during my day. Whereas if I got a call out for a British client, it must exclusively be at night time. So if that makes sense.
That's why a lot of companies in worldwide companies have their call outs, but they'll have different offices across the globe in different time zones. So you have like, for example, when IBM, right? They have US and India. So that way they literally got a time swap. So they would then, people would clock off in India and the US would wake up. And then, it's very much the fact that you have, and then you have different places. So you have like the UK has the Transit Street place. So they'll be online for literally just an hour on their own. So yeah. Right, so. The average mainframer, the average mainframer as of 2019 was between 55 and 60. During COVID, because we've done quite a lot of stuff as well, you know, bringing new people and getting people into Mainframe. This has been a massive drive because you know, most people are retiring that are in Mainframe, and now you're getting more and more young blood in. So that dropped 2 years. So that's dropped massively. So last year, do you guys know generations like boomers and Gen X and all that sort of stuff? Right. So boomers and Gen X's, they made up 78% of all mainframers. Now it's 50% of them are millennials. 51% of millennials. Gen X's have, I think, 27%, and now you've got Gen Z's.
You look at certain companies like Uber, we've got a lot of staff who are either in the high 50s or into their 60s, and then you've got literally this big gap where you've got almost no one's in 40s, you've got a couple who are in the 30s, and then most of our new staff, I think, you know, we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people who are, and mind you, we're only a company with 18 employees, 10% of our employees are under 30. There's a massive gap between people who are in their high 50s and up, and then people who are in their 30s and then very actually people.
Right. So, how many of the top insurers worldwide run on Mainframe?
70.
80.
Out of 10.
Top 10.
Oh, top 10, 7.
10.
8.
Thank you.
All of them. Every single one of them. All of them.
Oh,
So, how much percentage of the world's data originated off the Mainframe?
90. 99.
81. 80.
Of the world's data. So that's everything.
19.
Everything.
73%.
I think you're going to on that.
75.
Right.
What's the question?
50.
What's the percentage of the world's data on a mainframe?
75. 43.
88.
43.
88.
44.
64.
45.
80%. Okay, so how much workload has gone onto a mainframe since 2016? So how much workload has increased going on a mainframe, considering this whole thing about moving off the mainframe?
94.
70.
94.
Right, so transactions a day. How many transactions can a mainframe do in a day?
Said this one.
4 billion.
So Google does 63,000 transactions a
43
day.
billion. 43 billion.
No, it's still the same.
When transactions or some sort of processing, you can do over when the process is not transactions, you do over a million.
Okay, it's a process.
It's 2.5 million per second, so
100 million.
it's exactly 400 billion or million.
That's what I've been said.
So it is
100. Huh?
30 billion transactions.
I said 48. I said 48. Me.
You can have one small.
What?
Right.
450.
Percentage.
90%. 90%.
I remember what sort of industry is Fortune 500? So.
Yeah, it could be
100.
say 40%.
78.
100%.
I'm still saying 90 though.
71%.
I was close.
I don't know who got that one.
Okay, 100.
I said 90.
I said 78.
Yeah, it's probably the
All right. Are you hungry now? Okay, so how many lines of cobalt is in the world?
In the
5.2 billion.
all world history.
5.8.
As in, how many lines of cobalt are currently running the world?
4 billion.
5.2.
14.
5.8 billion.
14 billion.
25.
5.2 billion.
6.3 million.
14 billion.
Wait, you said 6 lines of code.
Yes.
6 lines of cobalt.
These are not
14 billion.
What was that?
Maybe very.
How many? Okay. 220 billion lines.
Yeah, we got them.
I look at those. Oh, shit. It's only 1 billion.
Yeah, I said 700.
I
said 6. I'm closer than that.
6 is closer.
14 billion. You know, like 500 billion. No, like, you said 6. Yeah, I'm still closer than that. I'm still closer than you.
You've had enough chocolate, right?
Right.
Right.
You know, like 500 billion. How like 200 billion?
Right, so considering the files of production workload, right? So that's every server, right? How much does a mainframe cost versus how much data it processes? So think about my analogy with the, remember when I told you about those servers, the mainframes, and then it filled with room when they went to TSP, right? So think about that. So percentage of workload versus percentage of cost.
If we're at 100% workload, that would be the cost is negated by the fact that the mainframe does so much. 6% cost.
95 to 3.
Yeah.
No.
So obviously businesses have like web servers and Linux and Windows and all sort of shit.
Let's say
So
60.
you can't be
That's production workload and
88,
30% cost.
95.6.
88% workload.
It's not like the 600.
The same.
88%.
right. Let's go for this figure first.
88,
70.
I said 60.
96.
88,
95.
96.
88.
You didn't reach.
Yeah, there you go. Right, and how much cost? So how much is the mainframe going to cost the business out of all of its IT?
I said it's
6%.
8%.
55.
6.2.
6.
Fuck up!
You bastard.
68%. Sorry, it was 68% of the work in a business and only costs 6% of it. It's
It's 10% what was inspired to be.
have you actually been sending any answers? I don't know. Right.
4.7.
Okay. So what can so they've done a test where they put the mainframe on a earthquake machine and they've had it running, so it's actually been running and they put it on so that way they turned it up on the magnitude level. So how what sort of magnitude can the mainframe still run?
Go from
0 to 9.
7.8.
Magnitude 9.
No, it's double.
7.5.
So you've got 9,
7.8.
8.2,
8.3.
3, 7.
7.8. 6.7.
Okay.
8.
You did 8.2 and you did. You said 7. There you go. Right. So. Right. So now this is where you come in, right? So skills depot. So I know you've been doing the Z Explore, right? So Z Explore is very singular. You know, when you were told to do Z Explore, did you actually understand what a mainframe was?
No.
So you had to install Visual Code, you had to install Node.js, you had to fanny around doing all this stuff just to get onto a mainframe, to do a right click to say create new or something like that, and then all of a sudden you've won a badge. So you still didn't touch a mainframe, but you got a badge to say that you won a mainframe. Well, this is why a lot of companies now ignore that badge, because it doesn't show anything. So this is why I suggest you go on to Skills Depot. So Skills Depot does encapsulate what the Z Explore is, right? So you'll have the challenge. So the challenges on the Skills Depot will tell you to go and do a challenge in Z Explore. But it does a lot more. So where Z Explore is just, right, do this, do this, do this, and do this. You have career paths. So you can go and be assistant programmer, security person, application developer, Linux, modernization. So that does a lot of stuff with developers, a lot of stuff with AI and machine learning and all that sort of stuff. And then you've got the DBA. Okay, so it does encapsulate what you've already done here, and it will then pull that into the credentials and you know, all your certificates and stuff that you've done in here will be pulled into this. So it's more about mixed learning. So you can choose your career, and then you can then follow the path there.
Can you do from all of them, or do you, or are you locked onto just one when you choose the career on this?
Well, no. So what you do is you choose a path, and then it will then tell you what you should do. So
Made up of a load of modules.
you know, I'm going to show you. So
basically, can you do all the modules, or are you locked?
so if you did all the modules, you'd be until you were 50.
Oh, right.
Because that one alone is 900 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you'll be in academia for life, basically.
Wow. But the Z101, which is what me and Ricki tend to recommend, that includes that Explore. So it doesn't start you with it. You are eased into what is a mainframe before you actually start like coding on one. But obviously then once you finish Z101, you might look at these and say, yeah, I want to do security. But like Ricki said, there's like hundreds of hours.
This is Skills Depot. Okay. So if I choose to be a systems administrator, which is a sysblock, which is basically what I am, you do the 101, the 102, and the 201.
I don't know why.
Right. So when you do this, so you learn computer science principles. No, you really gives shit like that. You should already really know all that anyway. It just tells you like general what a waterfall method is, what agile is. Emerging tech, what actual enterprise computing is. Then it'll actually tell you what ZOS is. You then have the interactive
3D model.
The 3D model of a Z17, and you can actually pull it apart. So literally you click it and it'll explode. And it'll literally show you all the transistors. It'll show you what each bit of the chip does. Then you can then put it together, and then you can then pull out a PCI card, and then you can pull out a network card, and you can put them all together. And it's literally a whole box where you can literally go in and pull out a drawer, stuff like that. And then it gets you to the Z Explore stuff. Then it'll get you to earn your advanced badge. Then you start playing on a different environment where you can actually have more freedom, and you go and play on one of IBM's real mainframes. And then you can then learn to be a system programmer. Then you can go and do USS, so Unix System Services. So that's Linux on Windows. So Linux on Z even. So.
And you get a certificate after.
So you actually get a badge.
I know. Yeah, so you get badges for these.
And you get a badge for almost every single one.
No,
you get.
show you.
So you get that one badge, but you also get a badge for a lot of these. I think.
Yeah, so you'll get badges for your ZOS.
That one, Explore.
So you get a practitioner badge. So you have to do them, and then you'll get your practitioner badge, which is a real certificate. It's actually worth a lot more than these badges because they're proper certificates.
Yeah.
No, it's not a badge. No. Okay. So then you get this. Okay. So
After you finish.
then you go to 12.
I think in total you
So that is 96 hours to complete that.
Okay, you get, if I remember correctly, I think that that one, and that one, there's, I think like one badge for each or one for all of them. Then you obviously get one for each of these, which there's Explore, Essentials, and then Concepts and Advanced. So, and then you get one for the whole thing. So I think you get like 6 or 7 badges in total from doing one learning path.
Right.
But then there's obviously one learning path that's learning tracks film.
Yeah. So that's 1 and 1, and then you can then go. So then you've got another 160 hours, and then you can go on to then 301. Okay. So that's if you want to become a sysprop, then you can then go and become, or you can then go and do security, and then you can go and learn racket, network security, and then you can do more training. So there's that. Now, the thing with this is some stuff, this is used by IBM, and it's sold by IBM to organizations to train you guys. So IBM use this as what's called their Global Accelerator Program, which is where they will get somebody to basically teach this. Well, not necessarily teach it, it's all self-driven. But it will be the fact that you then companies basically get an IBMer in, and then they mentor and all that sort of stuff. But they have to pay a lot of money for them to do it. But this is actually a free resource in terms of accessing it. But there are stuff in here like this. So, for example, the security one. Right, so you do all these. Right, and it teaches you about attainment security, various different bits of security, right? But you've got all these no costs. Now that's great, but then some of them are paid subscriptions. Now these are, so Vita Skill is an organisation that actually offers this sort of stuff, right? Now, I'll talk to you about it still in a minute, but this is why IBM don't push it for the Z Ambassador stuff, because they're worried that students are going to be like, oh, I'm hitting them all because I've got to pay for this, right? So go and do the Z101 because that is completely free. Everything inside that one is 100% free. Okay. It's only when you start going to do the other ones, like the security one, the developer ones, Syspro, the DBAs, etc., right? Where you'll find those subscription required, paid for versions.
Is the systems administrator?
That's a Sysprog.
Yeah, is that the one that is free, or is it?
That's
like,
so the IBM is so the IBM Z101 is completely free, and that's the one I suggest you go and do, because that pulls in all of Z Explore. But it gives you so much more as well. So it'll teach you, so it'll get you to go and watch a YouTube video about what something is. It will then go and give you little quizzes. It will then get you to do various different things. And then you'll go and log on to a different mainframe. And then you'll go and use, you'll go and play with it, and then you can break stuff. And then they'll just reset it.
Is that one kind of foundational then across all of them? Because you've
so the it's not in modernisation, it's not in Unix, but you need a good understanding, and that gives you a good understanding regardless of where you are, because it tells you about the platform you're working on. So you should always go and do the Z101 as a foundation, because you need to understand platform itself before you can start looking at your specialities or your niches or whatever you want to do, because you need to understand what you're secure and safety and security. You need to understand how to run a job. You need to understand various other stuff. Whether you're a developer, you really need to understand how to integrate with the infrastructure on how to run your code. So this bit is where it teaches you the languages that you can run, but you need to understand how your languages are going to work on the infrastructure. There's modernization. It's like, okay, I can do AI, but I need to still understand what I'm modernizing. You know, DBA, it's the same sort of thing. So for example, with the DBA one, you would then go, if it would, again, it teaches you, tells you you go and do that, but then it will then get you to learn about languages and then DBZ and SQL, and then some more down here. So,
Is it just like one subscription and you can access all of them?
so for the InterSkill stuff,
Yeah.
it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's what enterprises use it.
It's like hundreds of pounds.
It's not. It's thousands of pounds.
Well, I think they do temporary. You don't have to get like a year in that, do you?
Yeah. So it's
I think it's thousands a year.
It's £2,800 a year
Yeah.
for one subscription.
Oh,
But this is why organisations use it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Oh, which one is Mars?
There's
Which one is
InterSkill.
InterSkill,
But
you have a limited version of it.
yeah, I was about to say there is if you're a student ambassador, you get a limited version, and if you don't even have that, there's I think 6 courses you can access for free.
So
Everything else is paid.
this is why I'm saying go and do that one instead of the 101 stuff, right? You've got better playgrounds because you will. It's rather than just having that one login that you have and one system. You also have multiple systems. So on the other modules that are like the intro to ZOS and the panels and how to be a systems programmer, you get different environments and you get more authority and you can go in and break things and they will just literally destroy the system you're on and rebuild it. You can then go and play with security in there as well. So you can go and look at that. Okay. You actually get, it's real professional courses, like I said, like the InterSkill stuff, right? And you can get real qualifications. None of these, not just these badges, you actually get proper written, signed certs. Okay. Now, I've been working behind the scenes with InterSkill to get people that complete the ZOS 101 badge, free licenses. So you show me that you're dedicated to this platform and you learn and you spend some time, and I will give you a license so you can go and do the security and the database admin. Right. So I've created license. I've got them to create me some licenses that only allow you to access courses on those tracks. Okay, and then those tracks I can then assign you that license for 6 months. If you don't, because obviously it costs them £2,000 per license, right? That's how much. So I'm going to give it to you for 6 months. If you do nothing with it, I take it away. If you do something with it, I extend it. So because I'm obviously going there with my begging bowl, asking to give you guys free stuff. You know, I don't get paid for this. We do this in our own time. We have day jobs, and then, you know, everything that we do for WAVEZ is literally what I do on the weekend. I spend more time on this than I do my day job. You know, so we've got an agreement and a partnership with InterSkill where if you should demonstrate that you are committed and actually want to learn, and you get this badge and this certificate, then I will give you a license. I will be able to assign you a license.
And how long can you have that offer on?
As long as you are either a student.
Getting that certificate is like 3 months.
Yeah, that's fine. So I can do so, and then I can, as long as you are not employed by a Mainframe company, then I can give you a license. So goes out to grants as well. Okay, so you send me your certificate to say that you've done this, and then I can assign you an InterSkill license. So at the minute, I've got the security one, and I've got the database one. Because So you need to choose, you need to look at them and decide which ones you want to do. I will look at doing the system version of the 201. But at the minute, I mean, I organised this partnership 2 days ago. So I was actually on the phone with the CEO of Interskill 2 days ago to get to this. So you are going to be my pilot scheme. Okay. So that's getting you going. Community. Obviously, you have us. You know, we are a community to teach. So we don't have a hub. We use other people. So there's no point there's no point us trying to compete against everybody that's already got hubs of people and communities of people. So we are more like a conference style thing. So we come in, we run the 101 and 102 tracks. So the 101 is about introductory level education. So it's like what RACF is, what a system programmer does, what ZOS is, really fundamental basics. And then you have 102, which then goes on from those basics to teach you a bit more intermediate level sort of stuff. So we do that, and then we then find career opportunities for you guys to go in. So I'm in, you know, I talk to Rocket and Vitali and IBM and Broadcom, Next, Barclays, Lloyds, Ruben Rocket, Macro 4, 21CS, HSBC, NatWest, Nationwide, JP Morgan Chase, shit, I can't remember. Basically, you get the idea. So I go and hassle them for you know, getting you guys careers or getting you guys in. And the thing with them, the thing what happens is they will go and they have these programs and they'll go and put them out and they'll say, right, you know, they'll put them out to everyone, and you'll have people that apply that have no idea what a mainframe is. Completely not a clue. You know, and that's why I want you guys to learn stuff, because at least that way you've got the edge on what actually happens, you know.
So for reference, me and Ricki were invited, but Ricki couldn't go to Rocket Software's Next Gen Academy launch, which is like basically the first day of their post-grad in like apprenticeship or post-grad sort of scheme. And there are loads of students who'd all done like degrees in computer science, a couple of them maybe cybersecurity, stuff like that. And none of them knew what mainframe was, and they're going to be working on one for the next, you know, at least 3 to 5 years, depending on how long it takes them to finish the apprenticeship. Otherwise, obviously, if you leave early, you have to pay the cost back. And not that any of those students were like bad or not interested or not driven, but we were sort of saying, why risk having someone who says, oh shit, I didn't know I was going to work on that. I don't want to work on that platform, when we can actually have people who know what it is, who have interest, who've done all these in-skill courses and have an already more solid foundation of knowledge. So that's the idea with what me and Ricki are trying to do. We're trying to set these talent pipelines. So, for example, now we're trying to see if Rocket Software, there's some sort of talks about whether they might have T-level students from Bedford College go and do work experience placements there. That means the work experience students get their work experience, they get the allocated hours they need for their T-level, and then they can go on, and if they've proven themselves, they might get a job at Rocket. So now Rocket has more disposable kind of, you know, basically cheap free talent in students doing work experience. It's also an extended, let's say it's the equivalent of like a 2-month interview. And then if they like those people, they can say whether or not they take a risk with them, rather than just saying, I've never met you before, I'm going to offer you a job and hope you're good. You've got a chance to prove it. So actually it works for everyone. You get a chance to prove yourself, they get a chance to prove whether you want to work there. And in the end, you might say, that's crap, I'm never going there. But at least you know.
But and this is why, so at GS and at these WAVEZ events. So, you know, we have these networking events where we'll go and we'll invite these employers in and we'll get them to talk to you. And then when you apply for their jobs, if they remember who you are because you actually impressed them, they saw the fact that you were really driven and interested and all the rest of it, then you've already met them. So they see your name on a CV and say, right, well, I've already spoke to this person, I did this, that, and the other one on your cover letter, etc. Then they already know who you are, they know your drive. It's about putting you in with the employers. So that's what we do. Then you've got IBM's new to Z chapters. So they are like the online bulletin board sort of style things, and they have chapters where, well, they call them chapters. They are basically little community groups that are just for people in new to Z.
They're also generally not, I don't think there's any in the UK. I think that's what WAVEZ is. In America, they're predominant. Yeah. And literally you'll see like the Toronto U to Z chapter, or like the, I don't know, Fort Knox, whatever, Texas chapter. And it's like they literally just want to, don't forget how sparsely populated America is. There's millions of people in a city and then nothing for literal like hundreds of miles. And then a massive city with like millions of people again. So that's why they do that. Whereas in the UK, we're much more densely populated. So there's not a need for that. We can have WAVEZ and just say, can you travel 2 hours or an hour to get to Manchester or to Leeds or to anywhere? And you could probably go, yeah, that would be justifiable.
Yeah, so they have like community boards and stuff like that. Yeah. So you've got the IBM community hub and stuff, so you can go and ask questions and you can go and talk and that sort of stuff. On there, then you've got Mainframe Society. So MS is an online platform. It's being regenerated at the minute. They do podcasts and socials, and they also have done capture the flags. Did they help you? Did Henry help you with this one? No. He did ask me if he needed help, and I said reach out.
Yeah, they both created the platform, and I just did the questions.
Okay. So yeah, so they do like the Mainframe capture the flag. So that happens. So that's going to be that's on AWS, so that'll be accessible globally at some point. I think they're beefing it up at the minute because they've you guys did it at GS, didn't you?
Yeah, the AWS one.
So worth mentioning with WAVEZ, by the way, we've helped people publish articles in the past, and we're more than happy to help people to do that. So Zed's at the back. We've published an article with him. If any of you have a topic that you want to write about, which is like mainframe adjacent or mainframe community adjacent, I'm more than happy to help you guys publish that. Equally with Mainframe Society as the podcasts. We try to make sure people don't think, oh, well, that's a podcast for professionals. I'm not a professional. We had Nish Grim's on last year, and we've had more lecturers from Bedford College. And so the idea is we try to do things like that. We've had like one of the lecturers from, Herb Daly, who's a professor at Hertfordshire. So we want, Mainframe Society, and there's different mainframe podcasts they do. So they do 3, and one of them is all about community. And it's not necessarily, community isn't something that's necessarily for professionals. It's for everyone, right? Interns, graduates, apprentices. So, and students who are going to go into that talent pipeline. So if you're ever interested, don't hesitate to reach out to me, Ricki, or anyone else, because there is opportunities for you guys. We try to put our money where our mouth is and actually speak louder than words. And we really want to invest in students. So we don't say, oh, well, we want to support you, but you're not working on the podcast. Like, no, we want to help you. So we want to actually do that.
Nice statement. So obviously you've got maths, right? This is where I set it up. There's me again, and Chloe, who are the original maths creators. This is what the side used to look like before we got turned into that.
Lots of the side.
Yeah. So we created this for you to look at you. So we created maths so that way you can do this sort of stuff. You can go and do the skills depot, and you can go and learn to be a proper, so Mainframe is all about share, right? Sharing everything. So there's a lot of organizations and a lot of technical disciplines that all they want to do is they'll learn and they will keep what they know to themselves. They do not share anything because they think that they can just get easily replaced. In the mainframe space, everything, sharing is proper caring, right? So go and do the Z Explore stuff, go and do, you know, the skills depot, teach each other. Because if you know something and you know how to do something, tell them, you know, show them. Because if you can learn something and teach it, you'll also understand it better yourself. And you'll also then show, if you, when you end up going into a career with Mainframe, that's exactly how the teams work. So like all day, I'm sat on a team call doing stuff with people, and I will teach them how to do something, and they will teach me the same thing, or they will teach me something different that I don't know. It's all about teaching, right? It's all about helping each other. It's all about getting through challenges, because this is, you know, there's a lot of red tape when it comes to Mainframe, and because it is such a business critical system, you don't care whether it's you or someone in your team that's fixed it. It needs fixing, because otherwise the business suffers. So teach what you know and just learn and be as the community is here. Because if you are here in that community, then you will be able to integrate into a new Mainframe team so much easier. Because if you are just the person that knows everything, you're gonna try to be that in a different team, and you will find out that you are not very quickly. But you'll find that you might know something that they don't, or you know a different way of doing something. Every organization has it. There's a lot of things in Mainframe that I'll say, we've done it because that's the way we've always done it. And that is the way that a lot of organizations are. But if you come in with this new way of doing it, and it actually is more efficient, it is better, they find that, you know, then they will quite happily take it. So, you know, learn, teach, and actually, you know, you have the edge over everybody else. Because if you think you're coming out of here with a piece of paper, right? Every single person in this university, well, in this country that does this course, that does whatever course you're on, will come out with exactly the same piece of paper, regardless of what grade it is. Doesn't change anything. You'll all be taught the same thing, so you'll all be able to achieve the same thing. Here, you actually have something different. Because walking out of university with that piece of paper is not going to get you a job. No matter how much you think it will. You might be able to qualify to get that job, but it won't actually give you that job. This,
yeah, for reference, there was like, I can't remember exact numbers, there was like 5,000 people applied for the, or like so many thousands of people applied for the rocket software Next Gen Academy. 16 people got a job. So you can't just afford to be like, well, I've got a degree. It's like, yeah, but so did the other 5,000. So you how many people? You know, you've really got to have something that sets you apart. So
because you've got to think, if say 5,000 people have left uni across the country with the same qualification, but then you've got everyone from the previous years that still are looking for jobs. So then you look, you know, over a space of 10 years, because you've still got people still stacking shelves in Tesco after they leave uni, and they're still looking for jobs in their career for the next 5-6 years before they get there. So it is very much where you need something extra. And understanding enterprise technology and having something different on your CV will put you over the line. So it puts the edge on everybody else. You know, it gives you the edge compared to it. And that's it. I thought it was going to be a lot quicker. I know, yeah. It's because after the thing is, and then you start talking about stuff, so it's like,
It's pretty late right now, so thank you all for coming today.
Yeah,
Well, the original isn't that great. Really rainy on that. I don't know what.
Well, that's not getting the big job.
We volunteer.
Oh, you do. Oh, $4. You don't have praise of the live stream. Stop playing on the live stream. The speakers obviously have to be in front. Yeah, but the speakers now. You're gonna come more centrally.
No.
You want the the flag on the way. And I came second place. And Mokeship third place.
You gotta go that side.
No.
So who's taking the picture? Oh yeah, hey, you get the picture. Let me get the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well.
because you're not getting in the picture, that's the picture.
Okay. 3, 2.
Do a few just in case.
Yeah.
Get a good angle. All right. Come on.
Do we need to get your feet in?
No.
Right, then.
Whose phone is that? No. Okay, how do I get the pictures? Can I just take all of these with you?
Hey.
No, one per person.
This guy. This guy. This guy.
What is this? There's more, I said there's more stuff. Yeah, it's all gone. What's this? Oh, there's 6 stuff.
Thank you for coming today. Bye.